everybody. Good evening. Buenas noches.
Wait. I'm messing you up, Adelia. Hold up. Stop it. Okay.
I was trying so hard to try and be professional and polished, but
now you know when you invite me on your channel, that wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah, let's just keep it real and keep it 100. Okay, so y'all see who is joining the conversation tonight. Thank you for joining us. I see everybody in the comments. Frankie is here, skipping co-working to come over here and hang out. Thank you, Frankie. Appreciate that. Okay, so what are we talking about tonight? That is an excellent question.
And y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all what a bad friend she is in like 5 minutes. But for now, you can just sing my
praise. I was about to say, we're not even 2 minutes into this, and she's about to assail my character.
Yes.
Already.
With good reason. With good, y'all already know. Y'all already know it's gonna be something because she.
Go ahead, get it off your chest.
No. You have not introduced your guest, ma'am.
I have not introduced my guest. And so before I introduce her, in case you happen to be new here and YouTube just served this up to you and you're wondering what the hell is going on, this is pretty typical around here. My name is Adelia Roshida. I am the founder of Picky Girls Travel Solo, a group on Facebook for Black female solo travelers, all ages, all levels of experience. I am also the creator of the Financial Confidence Academy, where I help women of color understand their finances, get a better grip on them so that they can live the life that they want. And my very special guest tonight is the one and the only Miss Roshida Dowe, also known as Sheeta's on the Loose, one of the co-founders of Exodus Summit, the creator of the premier sabbatical course From Burnout to Bliss. A round of applause, people. Thank you.
All right now. All right. I'm gonna get that introduction transcribed. And the next time someone asks me for one, I'm about to be like, here you go. That girl said it best. All right. Hi, y'all. Okay. Adelia had a topic for this, but y'all know Adelia and I have never gone live and actually stuck on topic. So what we do? Okay, so she's a terrible friend.
I'm just giving you space. Get it off your chest.
From top. So I texted her earlier and I was like, I have a fever. I'm not feeling well. And then I was getting ready. Fix your face.
Go ahead. Finish your little story.
Okay. All right. I have a fever. I should be lying down on my sick bed with some man with a big palm leaf fanning me and another one feeding me like grapes and electrolyte, right? Like there should be something happening. And I was like, you know what? You know I'm not feeling well. And I'm hungry now. You should have sent me dinner before we go live. Sis said, is this thing on? Sis said, you should make yourself a snack tray.
That was not the inflection that my text message had.
That was the exact, the tone of the text message was exactly, you should make yourself a snack tray.
It was, you should make yourself a snack tray. That's how I did it.
Withering, I tell you. Sis gonna say, good luck with that. I said, oh, I'm snitching on you when I get online. Snitching.
Again, nothing new. Nothing new. I mean, it's a good thing that I what's the word for it? I have a strong sense of self.
Don't she though?
Because the way you be dragging my name through the mud on these internet streets, I would be feeling really bad, but that's okay. I'm gonna let
Have
you
I
have
ever
your opinion.
lied on you on the internet?
You have misrepresented me at
Oh.
every opportunity.
Oh, absolutely not. Have I ever lied on you on the internet?
You have spoken partial truths.
Woo!
You have
My
you've
truth? My truth is my truth. Your truth is something else. You can talk about that. My truth is my truth.
we could be here all night. And that is not why y'all came. That is not why y'all are here. Okay, so here's the thing. I wanted to have a conversation about, you know, what happens, because a lot of what I talk about, a lot of what you talk about, a lot of what Stephanie talks about is about living the life that you want, living the life of your dreams. But I don't feel like I don't recall ever a conversation about the other side of that. We focus a lot on how to figure out what it is you want, how to start making changes in your life, about the process, but we don't ever have a conversation about the other side. So that's why I invited you here, was to have that conversation. Because, like myself, you are living the life that you dreamed of.
With some minor inconveniences, left and right.
Well, we can talk about that. Is it all peanuts? I mean, is it all rainbows and unicorn? Or are there inconveniences? Are you having to suffer in this new life of yours?
I mean, there's some suffering. A lot of it involves you and the restaurants you choose. Am I wrong? Is that a partial truth? Is that a partial truth?
I think it is. One of the things that I noticed from the data presented is that it always seems you're the one having the problem at the restaurant.
But is my problem legitimate or is it fake?
True.
Okay.
Totally legitimate problems.
Okay. But for me, that makes it worse. You're choosing a restaurant, and every time I'm having problems, it makes it feel intentional. It makes it feel like you're sabotaging me.
I wasn't even at the table when the bee flew into your drink.
Did you choose the restaurant?
I did.
With subpar customer service?
I did not know that. I did not know
that. So I'm not gonna let her slide. I never let her slide. Even when I tell her I'm gonna let her slide.
She don't.
I don't. The other day I was like, I forgive you. And the next day I was like, so that thing Adelia did, let me tell y'all. Okay. So I'm gonna let that go for now. We're not gonna focus on this part of the food conversation. No one's tagging Stephanie in. I see y'all comments. Stephanie will not take my side. Stephanie will not take my side, and therefore she cannot join us. Stephanie is a mean meanie, and she will not take my side. I know this already. She's not neutral. She's not neutral. All right. Okay. So let's talk about our lives. I think that I've built a life that is very, very, it's what I want, right? Like, and that's part of like your dream. It's like your dream. What do you want? What are the things that would make you happy? And the things that make me happy, I incorporate in my life as much as I want, as much as it makes sense, as much as my budget will allow, because apparently in September, I have a budget. I don't like that, but I do.
And before anybody asked, the budget was not my idea.
No, but the way she talked about my budget like a dog. She kicked my budget in the face. And then And then Ivana's here. Ivana don't even know this part of the story. And then a couple days after, she was like, your budget is trash and you're stupid. That's what she said. A couple days after she said that, I'm in a group chat with her and Ivana, and she was like, so how much do you spend each month on food? No one, she already knows the answer. She ain't got to ask me in front of a third person. Why would
I
she?
was asking her too.
Yes, but you didn't have to ask. You knew what the answer was. You already told me it was bad.
But that is not the focus.
It is not the focus. I'm gonna get off track. I have a lot of pain inside from the way she treats me, so I'm sorry if I get off track. But yes, a budget in September for the first time all year. I'm trying to have a budget. So like figuring out how I can live a dream in the life I had, in the life I want, in a budget that like makes me happy. I tried to budget. I'm gonna tell y'all. I tried to budget $2,000 for the month. I had 3 line items before my budget was like, absolutely not. 3 line items before I was like, oh, is this where the money goes? Oh. And the only part of the budget that Adelia had any comments about was my food budget. I don't know if we want to talk about that. I don't know we can have a conversation.
I don't see why not. Because I know it's going to come up at some point. So.
Okay, so the 3 line items I got to, I was trying to spend $2,000. I had rent, I had food, and I had, oh shit, for 1 month. And that blew the $2,000 budget right there. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't take a bus, a 10-cent bus. I couldn't do nothing once I hit those 3 line items. And so Adelia and I were talking, we spent some time this week with Ivana as well, talking about how much we spend on food and how to make it work. And one of the things we talked about here is that it might be cheaper to eat out every meal than to go to the grocery store. I don't believe in that. It's not the answer for me.
You also enjoy cooking. I do not.
I enjoy putting things together I enjoy my fridge never being empty. Adela came over once and she was like, what is in my freezer? Adela looked at my freezer and she was like, why is there so much food? And I was like, because I eat. She was like, well, why is there, I ain't got no more water. And I was like, that's your life. That's your life.
It do. There's my refrigerator is full of alcohol and free gifts from when I order groceries. That is what my refrigerator has in it.
I have a lot of food in my fridge. So that's part of like living the dream life too, is figuring out like whatever things that you're going to splurge on. And maybe that's everything. Maybe it's not. Like, depends on what your dream is. My dream is always having fresh fruits and vegetables in my fridge whenever I want them. That is not Adelia's dream.
No.
And our budget.
And in my defense, I have no concept of what buying quality produce costs. I have no concept of it, y'all, because I don't buy produce. I haven't bought produce in at least 8 years. When I used to like have kids at home and other people I had to buy things for. I have no concept of it.
Yeah. I saw someone say, Ivana says the most food my new fridge has ever had is when Roshida gave me her produce before a trip. Y'all saw that I was on Instagram and I was like, how do I eat all this stuff? I ate 85% of it and gave maybe 10% to Ivana and left some for when I came back. It was good. There was some stuff that would make it. So Ivana had 10% and that was more food than she'd ever had. There's a lot of food in my home, except for right now because I haven't gone grocery shopping because I'm trying to see how far I can stretch it out.
I bet you there's stuff in the freezer though.
Oh no, there's stuff of course there's stuff. Quit playing with me. What do you think this is? Okay, but Adelia's idea was like, well, we'll just go get tacos every time I'm hungry. And I'm like, I got to put on pants and go
Which
outside?
which is a valid point, because in living in living the life that I want, I have found that I am not a fan of getting dressed and going outside. I am
Yeah.
hard pressed to put on clothes.
But that's part of like living your dream as well. Like I need a good reason to go outside. And I don't have to, because I can get almost anything I want delivered. I think if I wanted a baby, I could get a baby delivered. I think I could work that out, right? Like anything you want, you can get delivered here. And so that's like, you don't have to go outside unless you're going out to do something, to meet someone, for a daily to take you to a terrible restaurant. It doesn't really do. You don't have to do anything. So yes, figuring out the things that are important to you and where you can get those things is, I think, part of living the dream, is like, what can you do and how can you design your life that the things that are important to you, even if they're not important to your close friends, you can get those with no problem.
One of the observations that I have made is that I live my life like I'm on vacation. And if you think about how you behave when you're on vacation, it might not be in your best interest long term. You think about how you spend money when you're on vacation, because even though for a substantial part of my life I was very financially disciplined, on vacation, because I've already put the money to the side, I'm not thinking, oh, I'm trying to spend X amount a day. I'm just whatever. And I'll add the receipts up next week. So spending, eating how one eats on vacation,
And drinks.
on vacation. Because when you're on vacation, do you ever tell yourself no? Absolutely not.
So every other week, one of us is like, nothing fits. And it's legit like, those pants I put on last week, they don't fit this week, because I've been eating all the time like I'm on vacation. And sometimes I'm like, let's rein that back in. And sometimes I forget, right? We went 6 weeks earlier this year without drinking alcohol.
Or eating sugar.
Reined it back in. And then the minute we hit that alcohol and sugar again, bodies was like, you're over 40, man. Quit playing these games.
Now, where was it? Abba mentioned that she's still in the honeymoon phase. Has the honeymoon phase ended for you?
No, but Mexico City is my place, right? And so if you're in the honeymoon phase, it's much easier to get out of it if you're not in the perfect place for you, right? I'm still in the honeymoon phase. Every day I'm like, it's so nice. You're so pretty.
Ivana was not a fan of that 6 weeks because it impacted her life, even though she was like, I'm not giving up anything. But it did make her life hard.
Y'all not drinking? Oh.
Y'all ain't eating sugar?
Mm-mm.
The weight, I don't know. Maybe if I was 23,
yes,
it wouldn't be an issue.
Because it's a very walkable city. We walk a lot. There's lots of stuff going on. I be in Pilates every day, y'all. Every day. And the food I eat is still like, that was nice. That was nice. But you're never gonna fight these calories. Okay. All right. My knees are strong though from Pilates. Strong. So they just gonna carry the extra weight. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, wait, I just saw, I think Patty had a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever find yourself bored or languishing now that you've crossed the mountain? This is a really good question.
I don't. But I think a couple of things help with that. I am an introvert, so I don't need a lot of external stuff. I don't need a lot of external stimulation. And I live in a city that has 75,000 things to do, right? At all times. Even like I can walk across the street and go to a shopping center. And every time I go in a shopping center, I'm like, ooh. I've been going to the same shopping center for 2 years and I'm still not bored. I'm still like, ooh, look at that. Look at that. And I'm not buying things besides like at the supermarket, right? Or paying a bill over there. But I'm always like, ooh. I went there to pay my bill the other day and the men with guns were there taking the money out. So I couldn't pay my bill. But I was still like, ooh, when I tried to talk to the man with the gun. But my Spanish and his patience did not exactly sync up. And he had a gun. And I was like, you know what? I think what you're telling me is that I cannot do business here while those men are taking money out of the machine. And so I'm a skedaddle to down the block. But yeah, no, there's no getting, for me, there's no getting bored. There's no getting bored. When I first stopped working, though, there was a time when it was like, what am I supposed to do with my days? Not necessarily boredom as much as it's like, I feel like I spent my whole life typing, right? I feel like I should be typing something, right? Or I should be not yelling, but like being yelled at. Or like having a strong discussion with someone on the phone or solving a problem. And eventually, over time, that goes away, right? As you get used to the idea that like, there's nothing you have to do and that it's okay. And your body gets used to the idea that like, it's okay to not have like a packed to-do list. Yesterday, I was on Twitter complaining about how Stephanie was making me work and I didn't like it. And it was like, maybe it wasn't 6 hours. It's 4 or 5 hours. And I was like, I don't like it's too much work.
When's the last time you worked for 4 hours straight? Like, how often do you do that anymore?
This is too much work. I was like, I'm very uncomfortable with this level of work. And it literally like 4 or 5 hours was all I did yesterday. And I was still like, she's a horrible human. Look at her making me work.
I don't get bored because again, this is a place that if I want to go outside or if I want to do something, I can. But your response to that part about like when you first stopped working, feeling that need that you have to do something. Stephanie mentioned something about that today on her Instagram live, that she had to work at feeling satisfied at doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall experiencing that. I just was like, this is great. I ain't got to do a damn thing. I don't, and maybe I kind of eased into it because the last job I had before I retired, I took specifically because it did not require a great deal of work from me.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why I did not feel that way. Oh no.
I don't know. But no, not boredom.
No.
There's so many fun things you can do. If you have all the time and you're not pressed about money, you can find 1,000 fun things to do, which is why my eating budget is wild. Because a lot of the fun things to do here involve food. Right?
They do. And coming back, revisiting the food budget, I don't want anybody thinking like, oh, that Adelia, she's just trying to get on people. Well, the thing is, one, I could not, because again, I had been so financially disciplined in order to get to this point where my time is my own and I could do with it what I want. I really have I don't think about like, oh, this is my target for spending on food this month. This is my target for spending on this thing. And so when you showed me your budget, I was like, well, what did I spend? And then I went and looked at it and then I apologized because my food budget was a lot more than I thought it was and not that far from yours, but still kind of far from yours.
It wasn't far from my the budget I tried to set for myself.
Yes.
It was far from my actual spending. So,
Yes.
oh no, when Adelia was like, your food budget is ridiculous and insane, and don't you spend that much money on food, that was like half
of what she
I
actually spent.
She kicked my budget in the head like a stray dog. Like, I was like, why you got to do this? Like, she was like, there's absolutely no reason you should be spending that much money on food. And I was like,
that really does seem excessive for one person.
I spend twice as much. I actually spend a lot more. I'm trying to, this is my I cutting it down and being like bare bones for the month of September.
And that's another thing that I have noticed now that I'm on the other side is that I almost want to call it lifestyle creep, but it's really the discipline I had before. I feel less of a need to have it now. And because of that, I am probably experiencing lifestyle creep, which is, I think, something to be concerned about because I'm only 47. Like, I'm trying to make it, 85 is my limit. So I've got to, I've got almost another, 40 years? Don't make me do math. 38 years? I don't know.
Yeah, we can do math live on.
But I got a few more decades to be at this. So I need to be a little bit more concerned about lifestyle creep and discipline when it comes to spending than, let's say, I have been maybe the last 2 years.
Do you need to be or do you want to be?
I don't want to run out of money.
Will you run out of money or will you not have as much money at the end as people say you should have, as like the mathers?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it in that way yet.
So you're being hard on yourself about money without actually doing the math.
I'm not saying I'm being hard on myself, but I am noticing a trend that has taken place. Now, we can't discount the pandemic because I feel like some of my behavior can be attributed to the fact that we're at the beginning of the apocalypse. And, it's very hard to be concerned about the future when you're living through an extinction event.
You said 85, and I was like, girl, we're not going to be real today?
Well, that's my limit. Not necessarily that's what I'm aiming for, but that is my limit. That's my max.
Adelia said when the zombies come, she's just going to be like, I'm here.
I'm done, y'all. I'm done.
Check out.
I'm not about that life. I am not trying to stick around.
Nothing.
What's funny is I had this conversation with somebody here in the city. We did not know each other. And this was the first conversation we ever had. And they were like, oh my gosh, you would just give in that early? And I'm like, look, I understand who I am. If we're talking about zombie apocalypse, nobody's raising animals for food consumption. What the hell is there going to be for me to eat? What am I going to do? Grow peanuts? Am I going to try and harvest wheat and make flour? Like, the reality is I would probably starve to death anyway. So why sit around waiting for that when I already know how this is going to play out? No.
Well, we're talking to me every day, and she said something like, if there's one more thing, I'm balling out on those funds, on the funds I have saved. And it was like the next day I was like, polio's back. Woo. Yeah, it's a weird time. And so how do you live your dream in the middle of so much unknown and so much like terrible unknown? Like, we both got COVID for the first time in July. That's not a secret.
July. No, it's not a secret.
Sorry. I was like, wait, your channel. Thanks. We both got COVID for the first time in July, and it was like, this what y'all been doing for 2 years? Because
I ain't about that.
I'm in the house. I'm in the house from now on because I ain't messing with nobody. Now, Mm-mm. So it is real. Like, how do you plan your dream life? How do you live out your dream when you're living in like a nightmare,
The
right?
shadow of an extinction event.
It's all
Like
about you.
that, in none of the preparation I did and none of the things, none of the forecasts I looked at,
Right.
did this ever figure into it.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I think Layla's question is interesting.
Yep.
Both of you ladies still earn income via multiple streams. So do you really consider yourselves truly retired?
There are weeks where I do 0 hours of work. There are weeks where I do as we get ready for Exodus Summit, exodussummit.com, get your tickets. As we get ready for Exodus Summit, the premier Move Abroad and Sabbatical Summit for Black women, the best, the only, the one, exodussummit.com. Okay, anyway, so as we get ready for that, I'm maybe working 20 hours a week. I will do that for until the beginning of October, so a solid month. And then I'm going to go back to 0 to 10 hours a week. So yeah, like I don't know how, like I rarely, it's hard to describe myself as retired, but it's also hard when people are like, well, when you describe yourself as like having an occupation, people think that like you spend
Do
all
that
day,
all day.
right? And so if we're talking about like it in the terms of like, say I am getting to know someone and they're like, what do you do? If it's a perfect stranger, it's very much like whatever I want or nothing, right? Like whatever, because none of your business. And like you're usually asking that question for like information that is not necessary. But if it's like someone who like wants to know, like I was on a date once and I told a man that I was retired and his brain broke. At the same time, if you tell them that like, oh, I run a company that does blah, 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 they think you're unavailable except for like super late at night and the weekends, which a man asked me out for like 8 o'clock at night. And I was like, absolutely not.
Leaving the house?
For the next day at 8 o'clock at night. And I was like, baby, I don't think we're compatible. Like if you cannot go out before 8 p.m., we never gonna go out, shawty. Like we never. Like, and so in the sense that like when you're looking at things like compatibility, my life aligns more with like saying that I'm retired because my schedule's flexible. I can do things all day except for like 1 month out of the year, right? And so that's what makes sense for me. I feel retired, right? Which is what matters to me more than anything else. Exodus Summit always feels like a passion project, so it feels like I'm doing something pretty fun most of the time. And so it doesn't necessarily always feel like, sometimes it feels like work, but it doesn't, a lot of times it feels like it's fun. I'm working with my business bestie and we're doing this thing and we talk to each other a lot more. So it's just a really nice time. I feel retired inside. And so no matter what I say, I think what I feel is more important. And as someone who has had some terrible jobs, I don't feel like I work, right? And so retired, yes, I consider myself retired with like some side gigs. Semi-retired, demi-retired, I don't know. But like
if y'all want to hear more about the horrible jobs Roshida had, she was a guest on the podcast. Oh, girl. And we went through. So that's there. I think I do feel retired, but to me, being retired is about you get to choose when you work. You get to choose why you work. I don't want to say work is optional, but it's not about a matter of survival.
Right.
So I would say I do consider myself retired, but there was another question here. And I
want to pause for a second on what you just said. But isn't work optional?
I can remember a point in my life where if I did not work, I did not eat.
Right.
Therefore, at that point, I did not consider work to be optional.
Right. But today is what we're talking about.
Yes.
You said you're not going to say work is optional, but I'm like, but work is optional.
Okay. Yes. Work is optional. Work is optional. Yes.
Work is optional. We're not lying to these people tonight. Work is optional.
Okay. So what do you do when people ask you what you do? This is a struggle of mine. One, because in Mexico, very few people retire. So I learned very quickly not to say I am retired, because that then a lot of people can't even process that. Then they look at me and I do not look like somebody who, according to, what they're used to, should be retired. So I don't say that. If I am getting to know somebody, I sure as hell don't say that. So I usually fumble this question because I also have divorced myself from connecting who I am to what I do. Mm-hmm. So I don't ask people, well, what do you do? Because I'm trying to break away from that. So it almost catches me by surprise when they ask me that. And I'm like, that's usually my response.
I say sometimes it depends. And so I help women move abroad is sometimes my answer, but that can get complicated. And sometimes I'm just like, I don't, yeah. Or I say, like in Mexico, I have said to someone from Mexico, I help people take career breaks, and it fizzled.
I was going to say that's not a thing here.
Smell the smoke happening. Like
that is not a thing.
It was an overload, as they were like they asked me like 6 different questions, and I was like, because they couldn't figure out, they couldn't figure out what it meant, and so they kept trying to get at it at different angles, and I was like, I help women stop working.
This is a
temporary or permanent periods
where people work the most hours of anybody in the world. They, outside of the US, which guarantees no holidays, they have the fewest holidays of any like OECD country in the world. So no, nobody's going to comprehend. Mm-mm. You encourage people to stop working? Like that's kind of anti-Mexican.
I did that one time and I was like, oh, I won't do that again. as the conversation progressed, I was like, that is not the answer. It's not the answer.
I'll say I work online and try and leave it vague like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Every now and then I will just say, soy maestra.
Okay. Okay.
So.
But yeah, I think one of the things that complicates that question is how you feel and how you identify. You may not know the words to use to explain it in the way that it makes sense to the person you're speaking to, right? So like, I don't know that I'm semi-retired would help someone anymore, especially here in Mexico, that would be a period, right? I think it would be like when I was in the US, I told a guy I was retired and he was like, so you're on disability? And I was like, no, like it was like 7 on a day. Like he's staring at me like I don't
That's an interesting place to jump. I get why he went there, but like that would have never been my thought process.
I wasn't expecting it either. So I was like, no. He was a weirdo. But yeah, there were like 6 other questions along with it, but that was one of them. It was like, so I kept saying like, no, I don't work. And he's like, so you're looking for a job? Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, there are vague enough occupations out there that like consulting could be an answer, but I know I'd have someone who wants to be like, tell me more about your consulting.
And that's the other thing. I am a private person. I am an introverted introvert. I don't if I don't know you, I don't want to tell you anything about me. And the fact that I just said that, I think y'all now understand why dating isn't really my thing. Cause I don't want to tell people things about me.
Right. And it's not, and the reason this comes up is not because, is because people rarely accept the answer of like, I can say I do whatever I want. And usually, like, I typically only do that if a person is like, I can tell they're asking just to kind of like rank me, right? Like, where do I fit in their social circle? But like when my realtor is asking, I know she's trying to gather information to give to the landlord as I'm like applying for apartments. Okay, well, like now I have to give you a little bit more in depth, and I have to tell you in a way that like doesn't break your brain. But like, don't worry about what I do. I got money. Right? Like, and sometimes that works. Sometimes, a lot of times people just want to know what you're doing with your time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Angela is 100% correct here. We are taught to live to work. So these answers are troubling to people. Absolutely. And that's also like the reason I wanted to explore this topic is because, you know, so much, you know, the first 41 years of my life were very much focused on that traditional American dream, which talked about living the life of your dreams. I think like after you're 65, not that that's not possible. I just really wanted that to happen a little earlier. And so I don't know that we ever really get to see or hear people talk about, okay, there were these things I wanted to do. There was a certain way I wanted to live my life. I'm doing that. What is that like?
Right. Right. What are the things you would do differently in your dream life from what you're doing right now?
I would have got a divorce sooner.
Because
Because that was the biggest impediment to living the life of my dream.
past. What can you change today?
I don't know that I would change anything. This comes back to, okay, because I am an introvert, I struggle with small talk because introverts don't do small talk. I don't, that whole dance of here, I ask you this stupid question and I give you an answer and you do that. Like if you ask me a question, it needs to be a question you really want the answer to, because that's how I roll. If I ask you something, it is because I want to know it. If I don't ask you, that's because I don't want to know it. So when people ask things like, well, how are you doing? I struggle with that because previously my life kind of sucked. So my response was always, I'm dealing with this, I'm dealing with that. I don't have the negative response to give. And so I feel a little funny being like, oh, my life is great. I'm fabulous. I'm wonderful. I don't know. I struggle with giving that response because that is the true response.
But I think also a lot of people don't want to hear that.
No.
Because they're not used to hearing it. They're used to hearing, I'm busy, I'm tired, I'm okay, I'm fine, right? So like telling someone I'm wonderful, I think is going to be like, what are those words you're using? Why would you tell me that? Especially if they don't feel like they're in a wonderful phase in their life. That could be triggering to some people.
Yes. But to go back to your question, like, what would I do different? I don't know that there would be anything different. Like, I think I'm doing what I want. I don't think so. Like, I don't want to say this because it's really not about having more money. It's just, if I had like a substantial amount, like life-changing amount of money, then I would be completely carefree. I wouldn't have that small concern in the back of my head, like however much longer you're going to live, you need to make sure, you got enough money to eat. And that's a very, very small thing. So outside of that.
I think that's a lie.
You do?
I do. I think unless your life-changing amount of money is like Jeff Bezos money.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so you're not talking about like
the kind of money I could earn. No.
You're not talking about 10 million more. You're talking about like
I'm
100
talking,
billion.
yes, I am
Okay.
talking about a
right.
ridiculous amount of money.
Okay.
I'm not, yeah.
I feel like until you get to the billions, there's always some lifestyle creep there's always enough lifestyle creep that people are still concerned about money, whether that's for them or for their heirs. But there's still like a money concern until you get to the billions where it's like, I could blow 600 million on Coke right now and it wouldn't matter. Right? Until you get to that point, I feel like for most people, there's still that thing. People who are making $500,000 a year are still like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for them, right? Or people who have like 20 mil saved are like, is this enough for retirement? Oh, no, right? Because there's, especially coming from America, we're raised, capitalism is so instilled in us that we're raised to think it's never enough money. It's never enough money. Which reminds me, at Exodus Summit 2022, the theme is Move Abroad Money. And this year, Miss Adelia Aborashade will be giving you a session on how much investment money is enough. Do you have your ticket? If you don't, go to exodussummit.com. Adelia's speaking. It's going to be awesome. So like, we're going to talk about how much money do you need before you make the conscious choice to turn off that constantly running message that's been instilled in us and planted from capitalism, right? Like how much, because on your own, I think I saw someone here say they always feel like they have to be doing something. That's capitalism, right? Like like you have to make a conscious choice that you're okay doing nothing. And you have to, when I took my sabbatical, I thought I was depressed for a while because I was like, I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to get out of bed. And I realized when I was tired, right? And two, like I was putting pressure on myself to do things because I thought I should be doing things as opposed to actually wanting to do the things. What I wanted to do was watch Netflix, right? But it felt like it was lazy and unproductive. And I'm like, I get to be unproductive. Like I have worked this hard. I am here. However I got here does not matter. I am here. There's nothing wrong with being unproductive. And I had to tell myself it's okay to do nothing. And I had to constantly reinforce that with myself. It's okay to do nothing. Same thing with money. You have to tell yourself it's enough. It's enough. Because if you don't constantly tell yourself that, there's going to come a day where you're going to hear somebody talking about how it's not enough, how they have so much more money and it's not enough. And you're going to start doubting yourself. Constantly capitalism is like, we got to get you back working, doing something.
I feel like I had a little easier time making that transition because I was a bad capitalist to begin with.
Oh, yes.
So I didn't have to work as hard to move away from that and like embrace not doing anything. One of the other observations I have made about living this life, my concept of time. What is time?
You also live in a city. Time does not exist. So like having a life where time doesn't matter and living in a city where time does not exist.
It works well.
Like, what day? What is it today? In a message, I was like, how is tomorrow Thursday? Monday just happened.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like yesterday we met up for dinner and we were both like, I looked at the time Google said it would take to get there. And I gave myself 15 minutes extra. I was still late. I was not as late as I thought I was going to be, but I was still late. And I messaged Delia and she was like, don't worry, you probably won't get there before me. And I know she left early because Delia is the timeliest person I know.
Because my rule is in this city, you need to give yourself an hour to get where you need to go. So I left an hour ahead And still I was 5 minutes late.
And I think I
And,
was like 8 minutes late. Yeah.
and you know, I do think about that if because I actually did live here and work and be living in this city and having to be places at a specific time. That is a hard
It's not
life
my
to
dream.
live.
I do not dream of that.
No.
Every time
No.
I have to meet someone out and I'm like our friend met us once here for dinner and she's freaking out. She's like, the taxi, it's taking so long and we're going to be late. He stopped for gas. And we were like, okay. Like you stressing about being late to meet us and we are not stressed. We're going to be drinking cocktails when you get here. We might know what we're ordering for food. Maybe not. We'll be fine. And that's part of like, I don't know that my dream is to be late everywhere, right? But like part of my dream life is like having people who understand. I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna get there when I get there. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna
You
try.
make an effort.
I never leave the house 5 minutes, more than 5 minutes after I plan. I always give myself like a 15 to 20 minute cushion and I never leave. Like I'll leave late sometimes, but not more than 5 minutes. And still, so that gives me a 10 to 20 minute buffer where I should be there 10 to 20 minutes early. And I'm not because it's not enough time. I got to give myself like, I took 2 buses yesterday running down the street. I was going to wear heels. I'm glad I didn't because I was like, I'm on a bus. Don't do that.
If you're going to take public transit and you're going to wear non-walkable footwear, you've got to like, it's just got to be very, very lackadaisical. Like you leave maybe 3 hours before where
Yeah.
you know, where
And
you're
like
trying to
3
get to.
hours at like the middle of the day, not lunch, but maybe like 1 p.m. you're heading out
Yeah.
to get somewhere by like 3, right? And so that you have all the time in the world, because if you are leaving at like 6, at 5, you standing up on the bus and it's packed and you need your balance. You need your
Yeah.
heels on the ground to make this work. So yeah, Rebloom Room, Kat says, I can't stand the be on time culture. And it's not that we're not a be on time culture. We're just very much like a
Time doesn't have the same
no.
hold on me that it
No,
once
it
did.
does not. It does not. We both took a tour once here and we got there and it was a tour of Central. There's a bunch of foreigners there, right? It's an English tour. And we got there, every other person, maybe like 10 other people on the tour, every other person was like, where's the tour guide? He's not here. Why is he late? What's going on? He's quiet. And Billy and I are like, oh, there's a taco lady.
Yeah.
We were like, that's the taco lady from Netflix. Let's go see what she's talking about. I come back with tacos, like anybody, because we have like 10 tacos, I think. You want tacos? They were like, no, we don't want taco. And I was,
Yeah.
so we were like, y'all out here freaking out because stressing. They were legit upset that the tour guide wasn't there on time, and we kept trying to reassure them, like he's
he'll
coming.
be here. He'll get here. I mean, like, because in this city, you cannot expect people to show up someplace on the dot. That's separate from the whole Latin culture where, you know, the time that I told you ain't really the time that I meant. That's a whole separate issue.
People try to show up on time. Majority of the time, the people I'm meeting are trying to get there on time, but they're not about to break their leg to do it, right? Like Kayla was freaking out and we were like, baby, it's okay. Like you're stressing about something that you cannot control.
The biggest worry we might have is if, like, on a Tuesday night, we're not going to lose a reservation. But if it's like a Friday night,
we like, who can get there first?
Who can get there first to make sure we don't lose the table? That's like the biggest stress. The other thing about time that I have found is I don't like constraints on my time. If there is something where it's like, this must happen at this time, I find that I struggle with that. Like yesterday, I have Spanish class Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. All day up until 2 p.m. I'm just thinking about, I've got Spanish class at 2. I've got Spanish class at 2. Like, and I don't like having anything mandatory on my schedule. And I know I signed up for this, But what I am discovering is if I choose to do lots of things all day, that's one thing. It's another thing that there is this expectation that I have to do things. I'm so glad this is the last week of salsa class because I was like having to be someplace at 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Like, I don't like that. I don't like appointments.
Yeah. You said about restaurants earlier. Girl, I called my place the other day, or I was going to my restaurant and I messaged them and I was like, I'm gonna be like 30 minutes late. And they were like, oh, whatever. Right? Because like they know, like you live here. I see that Loyal Sky says it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to keep people waiting. It's the thing about this city, and that's why it's important to know what your dream city is. You can't live here with that with the expectation that that people are going to be timely, because 9 times out of 10, it's if they're late, it was not in their control.
Yeah, it's beyond their control.
It's beyond, like, that's why when the tour guide was late, we were like, baby, the metro was probably just too full for him to get on.
It could be any reason. And I know it may sound like hyperbole when we say this, but it could be there was a massive demonstration that nobody was expecting. They closed down the street. The street I live on, that happens quite a bit. When I'm waiting for the bus and I'm like, why hasn't a bus? They're supposed to come like every 2-3 minutes. Why hasn't there been one for 15 minutes? They probably shut down the street. And so that kind of thing is very common. You can't expect somebody to show up.
And that's why it's important to know what's important to you. There are cities in general that you cannot live in if people being on time is crucial to you. It's not crucial to me. The man was like 10 minutes. It wasn't like he was like 40 minutes late. The man was like 10 minutes late. And they were like overheating about it. They were like, oh my God, where is, and I'm like,
he'll be here.
We were both like, calm down. But to Adelia's point about like buses, like the bus that I was waiting for yesterday is supposed to come every 5 minutes. I waited 15 minutes. Bus ain't come. There's another bus coming down the street. Different type of bus. It says it's going to where I want to go, to the area I want to go in. Is it going to the same place? I don't know, but I'm hopping on. I was like, this is going to get me, because I can see down the street. I've been watching for 15 minutes. The bus I'm waiting for is not coming. This bus might get me here. The bus has 2 different numbers, and I'm looking them up online, and I cannot find either one of those numbers to really tell me what the route is.
Those numbers don't mean anything.
I was like, I got on, I asked the bus driver if he was going to where I wanted him to go, and he was like, yeah, but like I said, it's kind of a large neighborhood, right? And so like, he's going to the large neighborhood. Is he going to the large bus stop at the large neighborhood? Probably. He was, right? And so I ended up going where I was going. But yeah, but every 5 minutes, I should have seen 3 buses. I did not see one.
And as Ree Bloom Room points out, there are places that everything runs on a clock and you need to be very timely. And who I am at this point in my life, living there might be a struggle for me, very much so. And Anissa added this, which I think is an important thing to remember, that what is considered respectful is a cultural construct. It means something very different in different places. In a live I did a few weeks ago, I think I mentioned to y'all that here you get the Mexican brush off, because they will tell you, yes, I'm going, I'm coming, and they have absolutely no intention of doing that, because culturally it is seen to be rude to tell somebody no.
You can't say, they don't say generally. You don't hear no outright. You have to look for signs that the answer is really no, and then be like, so ask more questions that get to around the edges of no, but you rarely going to get a no.
Yeah, because if they're going to turn you down, they are going to give you a reason, because that is the expectation.
Yes. My landlord is trying to sell my apartment, and She has her realtor sets up showings, and half the time they don't even show up. I told her they got 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, I might not be here anymore. I don't know. But I'm not waiting around on like, so that's part of it too, is like understanding how you fit into the culture. I do not dream about waiting around all day for your people to be late. And so if they can't make it within the 30-minute window with no call, no updates, they don't come to this lock. Well, they're not getting in because they got to call me first, right? So they're not even getting inside. And so it's that idea that people really will be like, yes, we're going to come at this time, and then not change their mind and not tell you, or never have any intention of coming. Like, why are you setting up a showing to see an apartment if you have no intention of seeing the apartment? Like, it's not like we asked you to do it, right? I didn't call you like, hey girl, come look at this apartment. You set this up and then changed your mind and didn't feel the need to tell anybody. I have to create barriers that make that a safe place for me, right? I'm not hanging around all day. So these people have 30 minutes. They got to, my landlord knows they got a 30-minute window. If they don't come in 30 minutes, I call her like, or I text her like, girl, they ain't called, they ain't say nothing. And she's like, I haven't heard anything. Don't worry, it's done, right? Because it's timeliness is one thing, but also there are people who will not, like, you cannot get to say no. So like a lot of times, or you cannot get to lock down on a time. And I think Mexico City isn't as bad with that as I think some other towns are. I get the impression this is bad in Merida and probably some other, like the beach towns and whatever. Like someone will say they're coming to do something today, and today really means tomorrow. When I had a plumber come to my apartment, I was like, so you're coming at what? Like he had to give me a time. He was like, I will be there by 10. You tell me you're going to be there by 10. I believe that you're coming today.
That's what that means.
Now, he was there around it. It wasn't so bad that I don't remember if he was before 10 or around. I don't remember what happened. But when he gave me an hour, I believed he was coming today. If he said, I'm going to come today, I would have been like, okay.
Yeah, that's questionable.
You come because I might not be at home, right?
That is questionable.
I can't wait around all day for you to be here. But still, while those things seem inconvenient, it's a city where grace is given, right? I saw someone mention that in the comments. I don't remember who it was. It might have been in this stuff. It's a city or cat. It's a city where if something goes wrong and you can't show up, people aren't getting mad because they probably weren't expecting you anyway, right? Right? Like I call my restaurant like, girl, this Uber is taking forever and this traffic is terrible. I'm going to be at least 30 minutes late. And they were like, now it's packed. There's no empty tables, right? But they were like, we got you. Because we know, like, you can't be, I'm coming. I'm doing my best. Sometimes your best doesn't get you there on time.
That's very true. And I am somebody who takes my punctuality very seriously, that if I tell you I'm going to be somewhere at a certain time, yes, I really want to be there then. Yes. But I do not trip out that other people don't show up because there's just too many variables. Mm-mm. Here's a question I have for you. When, I don't think you thought about this before you took your sabbatical, but like after you had this sabbatical and you had this time off and you thought about like, what was the life that you wanted to live, and how you could make that happen. Did you think about, I'm sure you thought about, okay, I can do this, this, and this, but did you think about the other side of that?
What do you mean?
Like after you achieved that dream, once you got the dream of, oh yeah, I'll retire at 39 and I will live wherever I want in the world. Like, did you think about the other part of that? Or was your focus really on how to make it happen?
So I made the decision. I told myself probably around like 27. Nope. I was working at a law firm. So it would have been, maybe between 27 and 29, I think. No, 27. Girl, I don't know, 26 to 28, somewhere in there. I was working at the law firm. I was like, I want to retire at 40. I'd been out of law school for like 2 years. And I was like a year and a half at the firm. And I was like, I can't do this. This is not a long-term situation for me, baby. I got to get out. But I don't know if there was ever a point where I was like, girl.
Did a bird
the
fly?
wind.
Oh, it was the wind.
The wind. Did you hear it?
I heard it from your side. I have to keep the windows closed over here because your girl, she's afraid of the wind.
The window is closed. That was the wind on the closed window.
No.
Ooh, it's gonna storm tonight. Anyway, no, it was a lot of like mini decisions. And I think that is how you get to your dream life. You honor yourself, right? So it wasn't, I didn't know I was retired until like months into it. It was just like, oh no, I ain't going back to work right now. Like I wasn't like, I have officially retired as of this day. It was like, you're not going to get me to walk back in another law firm. You're not going to get me to walk back. Work for the man again? Absolutely not. And like, I'm going to tell y'all, I'm good at what I did. I'm I left a lot of money on the table because I'm very, very good at a thing that very few people do, like the specific area of law. I left a lot of money on the table, but I was like, I don't like work. I do not like talking to people I do not like talking to. And so, it was like, oh no, I can't go back. Like after about 6 months of not working of a sabbatical, I was like, I can't clock in again. Like ever. I think I've broken that part of my body of like someone being like, you were supposed to be here at 9 o'clock and it's 9:02 and you're just getting in. Like that part of me doesn't exist anymore because I could be in France. Like what is right? And so it was like, okay, I'm not going back to work. For me, it was like, I'm not going back to work until like the money says you have to, right? And so it wasn't really retired. And then after a while, I was like, I guess, yeah, I'm retired. And it wasn't like I didn't realize I could live anywhere until I realized I wanted to live in Mexico City. Like I was here. I mean, I was like, why don't I live here? My friend asked me. I asked my friend, why don't I live here? And she was like, why don't you?
Why don't you?
Why don't you? And I was like, oh yeah, if I want to live here, I can live here. And so it was just whatever steps I need to take to get residency here, to live here full time. And so it's all of those little tiny decisions and honoring myself and how I felt in the moment. It was really like, I don't want to go back to work for the man. You're not going to get me in a meeting again arguing with people about shit that don't matter. You're not going to get me in a meeting again of people who were like, you're the only lawyer in the room, but I know the law better than you. Like that's not. No, you're not going to get me to work with people who don't honor my gifts and my talents. I come in the room strong and you're like, I've never been to law school, but legit, a man told me once, I disagree with in a meeting. There was like 20 of us in the meeting. I disagree with your interpretation of a law. Baby, you are a programmer. Nobody gives a damn what the account. There's one other woman in the room, and she was sitting across from me. We were like in a four square table set up, whatever. 20 of us in the meeting. She looked at me and she was like she could tell I was about to have his ass for breakfast because, baby, what makes you like, why do you think I have to prove as the only lawyer, as the specialist for the company, I have to prove myself to you because you disagree because your answer would make the company more money. My answer gonna keep y'all out of jail, right? Like nobody gives a damn what you think. And the fact that you have the balls to say that tells me you are not someone who's ever gonna get me to respond to an email again. Good luck with that. You better never need shit from a lawyer again, because you know what I'm the only one that can help. I'm the only one that can help you, and you talking to me sideways. Absolutely not ever again in my life. Absolutely, like so many times, I am the subject. I'm literally the only person in this entire company who understands this issue, and y'all are in a meeting debating it and leaving me out of a conversation. I'm just looking at y'all like, do what you want. Like I'm not about to fight with y'all. And I'm just don't do that now. Now in my life, but part of my dream life that I've created in the little decisions and honoring myself is I only work with people I like. I only work with people I like, even for like the larger things like Exodus Summit. If you've ever talked to me sideways, you shouldn't pitch to me. I only work with people that's true for me. Stephanie knows that you know it. If you have done something to make me not like you, it doesn't have to be personal. But I make a choice to only work with people I truly enjoy. If I don't enjoy you, you got to kick it. You got to like, there's no space in my life for that. And that's part of my dream life. Because if I only, in the work sense, if I only work with people I like, when am I talking to people I don't like? When? I don't make small talk.
Exactly.
I don't make small talk with strangers. I have my friends. I have people I work with, whether they're clients, collaborators, or whatever. I only talk to people I like. Some of my exes have been in my messages recently, left on red, because I only talk to people I like. Why are you here? Why are you here? What is you doing? I only communicate with people I enjoy. If I do not enjoy you, if your energy does not fill up my cup, there's absolutely no reason. My phone don't work. Half the time my phone don't work because I've been losing my SIM cards. But truly, my phone.
How did you know you were there, you were on the other side, that you had achieved your dream, that you were living the life you always wanted? Was there a moment?
There's never been a moment. There's never been, and I don't know what I would say. I would say now, I am living one version of my dream. I'm not living the end version of my dream, right? Like I should be on the Ritz-Carlton yacht for like at least a month out of every year, but I'm not. But tweaks. It's a little tweak. It's the little decisions that honor myself, that honor who I am and who I want to be at my highest and best self. Highest and best for me, right? Not highest and best based on anyone else's standards. It's the little things I do daily that get me closer to like the things that make me happy. There's no like ultimate goal. Like, yes, that boat is on my vision board, right? But like, I'm not pressed. I'm not rushed. One day.
That's the thing. Not be impressed about anything.
I love my life today.
Yes. Yes.
Is it like the life that I dreamed of? No. I would like to have regular sex or some sex. Any sex. Not any.
No, not any. Not any, because part of my dream life is not having mediocre sex. So not any.
But like, I do not dream of the dating process, right? And being true to myself means that I be on like Tinder, Bumble, Hinge for like 5 minutes every month. Forget about it. Like, what was these dudes talking about? Nothing. They were talking about nothing. And so it's like, yes, there's that thing out there that I would like in my life. But do I want to go, like, who I am right now does not want to talk to a bunch of men online, because I don't really like talking to men. Truly.
I don't be wanting to get to know them. This is why this trip to Scandinavia is going to be hilarious, because I don't be wanting to get to know people. Like, I don't care what your color. I'm not even gonna go there because it's just such a hot mess. But for me, I think when I uttered these words that, oh, I don't do things I don't want to do, that's when I knew, like, oh, this is it.
I don't want to do this. I want to get the sex without the talking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do I need to pay? Like, what is the answer here? What is the answer here? My husbands are all married to other people. And I'm like, how do I make this work? What's happening?
And as things have come up, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. And for me, no is a complete sentence. But if somebody presses me, I will say, I don't want to do that. I don't do things I don't want to do. And because so much of my life before was I did the things I didn't want to do because of some greater good, because it, was going to help this, that, or the other thing. And like, now I don't give a fuck about any of that. I do the things that I want to do because I want to do them and for no other reason. That's how I knew I was on this side.
And that keeps you true to yourself, right? And when you want different things, you'll go after different things, right? And that's where I am. Like, I don't ever feel like I'm on the other side. I just know that I feel free. I don't know if that's 100% free. I think I'm still like it's hard to get capitalism off your back. It's hard to get like all terrible things like the patriarchy. Child, can we press a restart button and get rid of that? What has it done for people? What has the patriarchy done?
Nothing but make my life hard.
Right? Not even for the men. It's not benefiting you. So like those things are things that I'm never really free of. But still on my day-to-day, like I woke up this morning and I was sick. That's why. I woke up this morning and I was like tense. I couldn't figure out why I was tense. And so I started cleaning, which I don't normally do. I'm free of cleaning because I don't like to do that. And my cleaning lady does, right? I am free of cleaning. But this morning I was like, I wonder, like it's kind of chaos. Stick my braids out. There's a little bit of chaos around the place. I wonder if I clean, will I feel better? How do you feel a little bit better? Clothes are my dryer. My sheets are my dryer. I just remembered that. But it was like, it was noticeably rare that I woke up feeling out of sorts because I don't. I wake up like, what are we eating today? I wake up like, well, what's the
and because when I am stressed, I carry it across my shoulders. Mm-hmm. If I start to notice things getting tight or my back hurting, I pick up on that much sooner now, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? What's got you a little out of sorts, or what are you focusing on here, mm-hmm. like subconsciously, that might be making this an issue? Mm-hmm. Somebody posted a question and I thought I started, but I didn't. And it was about a new dream. Is it like you don't fully consider yourself to be 100% on the other side? Because there are some other things that you'd like that you're not pressed about.
Right.
But we both have achieved a lot of things that we set out to do. Is it time for a new dream?
I don't have goals just to have goals. And that when you say that, that's how that feels to me. Yes. I don't think that's what you're saying, but that's how it feels. That authentically, just to be honest, that's how it feels. There is no, like I said, I don't think I want to retire by 40. I did, right? But I forgot I wrote that on my calendar until like I hadn't been working for like 18 months or maybe 2 years. And I was looking back for something. I looked back and I was like, retire by, okay, all right now, randomly. And so I don't know if it's time for a new dream. I think it's time for me to always remain authentic and open so that I can hear the things. I can receive in myself the things. I think one of the differences between Adelia and I is that I'm a maximalist and she's that other thing. And so she showed up in my inbox the other day with something, and she sent it to me. No, see, this is how y'all act like she forgot about that, huh? Y'all
No,
act like
I will own this.
she sent me some minimalist ass bullshit, and I was like,
the title said you must send this to Roshida. It was like why maximalism was really minimalist.
I said, quit. I think I just hit her with the FU. And then she was like, I thought you were going to say, because I always say this to her, I thought you were going to say, quit playing on my phone. And I was like, quit playing wasn't on my phone wasn't enough. Fuck you. Why is it in my inbox? Why is this in my...
So you're saying you didn't read it?
Please leave me alone. Anyway, so she plays these games knowing is trifling. She's still sending me stuff. Not because she thinks I should read it or it's important or it's good. She's sending me stuff because she knows I'm gonna cuss her out about it. Solely, she makes me the bad guy. She, look at her face. You know, you can tell it's true.
Oh my gosh.
She makes me the bad guy. Anyhow, what were we talking about? Okay, I'm a maximalist. She's a minimalist. And so part of my dream, if we're tweaking, like it's like stuff. You know what I mean? Like part of my dream, like when I'm being true with myself, it's like, I miss driving and I want a shiny new car. I don't want to drive in the city. So I need a country home to park that car that I can drive it. And maybe my driver will, because I should have a driver, right? Will drive me to my country home. And then when I'm out there, I can just bustle around and drive, right? That's not how Adelia dreams.
No. No.
I saw a car, I posted about a car, and she was like, where are you going to drive it? And I was like, at my country estate, sister.
I knew you weren't going to drive it here. That's why I was like,
I am not going to drive it here. But my dreams, because I'm a maximalist, my dreams they expand very easily. They expand very, very easily. And so I don't necessarily need a new dream because there's enough things, right? Like there's a driver. I don't have a driver. I don't have the silver Yukon for him to drive me around in. I don't have either the vintage sports car or the BMW Z4. I used to love that car. Put the top down in the country, drive around. In the country, I mean probably some like back roads I shouldn't be driving on. Right? I don't have the country estate to park the sports car at. I don't need a new dream. My dreams are there waiting to be fulfilled. Waiting. My dreams are like, girl, we hear you. We see you. Where the money at? Right? Like, but they're there. I don't need a new dream because it's a whole lot of unfulfilled dreams, right? And I don't need to change course because I'm still being honest with myself. So yeah.
This is it right here.
Now,
I raised 2 Tauruses, but I have never met a Taurus like this one right here. She is like the dictionary. You look at an encyclopedia, it is this woman's picture. So yes. And
I have like 6 different things you could be in. Like 4 of my 6 are in Taurus.
Yeah,
I don't know.
She's like a super Taurus.
I'm a super. I like food. I like nice things. Thank you. Give me the shiny stuff. Bring it to me. Thank you.
Well, I asked that question because when Stephanie was talking today on her Instagram Live, she was giving her response because she didn't get invited to be here tonight. And she was like, well, this is what I would say. But she was just on a podcast episode. So I like the thought of getting more dreams. Like that thought never occurred to me. Like, I don't know, maybe that sounds too much like work. Like I got to think up more stuff. Like I'm cool doing this.
Meanwhile, I'm like, and oh, a country house. For the car I just walked past today. I want that car and I can't do it here. So a country house.
Yeah, that all sounds very complicated. And as a minimalist, I crave simplicity.
So don't get her wrong, though. She's a minimalist, but she will hitchhike onto my maximalist ass whenever she can, whenever she feels like it. I was looking at a expensive 3-bedroom apartment in a beautiful location with a rooftop, and she was like, "We gonna throw some parties out there."
Hell yeah!
She would never live there.
Now, I would not talk to anybody at this party either, but
she was like, we were like, at the same time, we're both like piñata on the rooftop. Like she is there for it. She just don't want to deal with it.
But I'm not, I'm not figuring out how to do all of that. No.
I'm gonna tell y'all again, we were in IKEA and she was like, "You need that sign. You need that. And I was like, "Why do I need the sign but not you?" She was like, "I don't like stuff, but you need this sign."
And I was right.
I hadn't even looked, I hadn't seen the sign, I hadn't looked at the sign, but you see now how I have a sign I didn't even know existed because she saw it and she was like, "You need it." And my maximalist brain doesn't tell me no. It doesn't tell me no, right? Especially if it's not stupid expensive. My brain doesn't tell me no, which is why my food budget is crazy. But she is like, "No, you gotta get that sign.
I was like, "You need that.
You need the sign." And I was like, "I don't need a sign." And I was like, "Well, actually." So she's a minimalist, but she's also a bad influence for other people who are trying to be.
Because I am about, and this is I have a list of things that I've observed about this life. And one of them is never telling myself no. That's one of, if I'm going to say that achieving my dreams, that like there have been problems or challenges, it is, I don't tell myself no. I don't deny myself pretty much anything. I have a very hard time. And that may not sound like a big deal, especially to my friend, the maximalist. But y'all got to remember that I spent the first half of my life denying myself so much because I lived in I had very little security. And so I was always trying to anticipate having enough and making sure I would be okay. So, I mean, like, I can remember losing a $5 bill and being pissed off about that shit for a week and trying to search for ways of where can I make back that $5 that wouldn't cost. So for me, that's a big deal.
But like you talk about not telling yourself no, but I also don't feel like you're telling yourself yes to a lot because you don't want a lot. You just want tacos.
That's the thing. I don't want a lot. I don't want a lot. If there is something I really, really want, I will spend the money. Like, you don't know this yet, but I went to a fashion event and I spent several thousand pesos on a garment that I did not make.
Please tell us more.
But I was standing there and I was like, I don't want somebody else to have this. I don't want to leave without this thing. So, because y'all know, I pretty much make most of my clothes for various reasons. I had not planned to buy anything, and I was separated from several hundreds of dollars.
When will we see this?
I need shoes because I only got like 4 pairs of shoes.
I have more shoes scattered in my hallway that I tried on
than I own
for dinner yesterday. Like scattered since my clean lady was here on Friday, I have more scattered pairs of shoes by the front door than she has in her entire life.
So I don't feel like I have the right pair of shoes, which is why I have not worn it yet. And I'm not even sure how to shop for shoes here because it's been so long since I have.
Welcome to my world. She walked in on me once shoe shopping and she just took a photo. And I was like, what are you
Because
doing? And
she
she
was
was like,
surrounded by like 20 shoes.
it was not, it was like 6 pairs of shoes. I was looking for like a skin color shoe, which is not, it's not easy in a lot of places, right? It was not easy. So I was trying, I had all these different, like 6 pairs. And she came in and she was like, oh, what's happening?
It was more than 6 pairs.
We're going shoe shopping together now. Welcome.
What?
How many purses do you own?
3. Only because maybe 2 weeks ago I bought one.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Before that, the like basket weave one, that was purse number 2. So literally in the last 2 years, up until maybe 3 months ago, I owned 1 purse.
Mm-hmm. I'm familiar with 1 purse, Adelia. 1 purse, Adelia.
Yes.
And oh, look at you, expanding. I love it.
And I might get one.
Purses.
I might get one more because that one is, you know, like I bought it at Miniso. So it's not even like a real purse. So I need to replace that. So yeah, I might get one more. So yeah.
So while we're both living our dreams and a lot of our dreams overlap and a lot of our dreams intersect, it's obviously not the same life.
Obviously.
I will not tell you how many purses I own. Not counting the stuff that's still in storage. If I count my shoes in storage and the shoes I have here.
Are we talking
it's somewhere over? It's over 100. I don't remember how much I have in storage. It's definitely over 100.
Wow.
It's definitely over 100. Yeah. But like those were gone, so I couldn't access them. So I had to get new shoes because you have to have shoes.
Well, there is that. I'm scrolling through here. There are, okay. Yes, I will talk about Scandinavia next week, which is, damn, that's when I go. Oh, I've been dragging my feet. Because it's finna be September this week.
It's finna be less at home.
And speaking of which, if you happen to be in Newark, New Jersey, September 8th, around 6 p.m., and you want to hang out and get something to eat, I will be at the Cornbread Network. But the plan is to talk about Scandinavia next week. And I just realized, like, I still have travel arrangements that need to be made for that trip. Because again, me now living this life, I'm kind of like, what is time? You know, like, oh, I'm not pressed to do anything.
Is your sequin shirt see-through?
Yes, it is.
Today.
I chose to wear this shirt today because I should not own anything that I don't wear. And this shirt has lived in 4 different countries, and I don't think I've worn it once. So that's why you get sparkles today.
I missed that before. I thought it was darker. I don't know if the light changed or what. I was like, I see skins.
Yes.
Skin. Yeah. Okay, so everyone going to the Cornbread Network, you need to report back and tell me if Adelia picked a good restaurant.
It is Black woman owned.
Is it good?
The reviews say it is. So
how many places have you picked where the reviews said they were good?
I can't help that. I can't help that. We actually did not go to a place last night because it was too much of a gamble, and I knew she was going to talk shit about me. So,
place last night, good food, good service.
Yeah, that was a nice place.
Yes, they worked with our Spanish until I think at one point one of the waiters was like, "Let me give this to you in English," because sometimes I feel like people just want to like show that they can speak English. Because like we were doing good with our Spanish.
Yes,
and I think at one point he was like, "Boom, English."
Was it last week or maybe it was the week before, when the waiter came over and he started speaking to me in English, and I said, oh no, in Spanish. Spanish is fine. And he was like, but I want to practice my English.
Did you say that to you before you got here? So I showed up a little bit after her. You see a trend. And well, we took the bus where she was going. I took an Uber because she had a direct bus. She had the direct bus route, and mine would have been like 6. It would have been at least 3 different types of transportation to get to where I was going if I took public transportation. So I took an Uber. I forgot that you cannot take an Uber into Centro at that time of day. At one point, I was like, I'm not getting out of this car. He's gonna have to take me to the front because I was worried I was not wearing walking shoes. We kept going, and I was like, I'm hopping out this car. I am not going to have me take him to the front. I was like, we had to go around and make a U-turn, make a big 3-way turn. I said, I said, it's right there, right? He was like, yeah. I said, all right, bye. He was like, he pressed stop so fast. Like, get me out of this traffic, get me out of here. So I was late. The point was, I was later than her, came after her.
Yeah, you came after me.
But when I got there, the guy was speaking English, and I'm trying to speak to him in Spanish because it was a tourist place. And sometimes they just do that. And I want to be as respectful as possible and speak Spanish wherever I can. But he kept like ignoring my Spanish and coming back with English. And I thought that was just his way of being like, you ain't got to play this
game. No, you gonna get this English.
We got the English. But that place had better English speakers than I've seen in any restaurant here. Maybe because I don't go to a lot of tourist places.
Yeah.
But that restaurant, I was like,
because usually it's one guy.
Yeah.
They go and get the one guy that speaks English.
And sometimes, I told you I went to that one restaurant on my channel. I mentioned this before. I went to one restaurant and the waiter was just like, no, I'm gonna get somebody. He looked at me. Someone told him that like that was his table. And he looked at me and he was like, you could tell it was, I have seniority and I say absolutely not. I will not be dealing with her. I hadn't said anything yet. He was like, no. And then later on he came over. He was like, oh, you speak Spanish? And I was like,
I got some food Spanish.
I got some food Spanish. He was like, ah. So it wasn't like personal. It was really like, I will not be dealing with the English speaker at the end of the day today.
September's tomorrow. Like I did not put that together that September is tomorrow. That's what I'm talking about when I say like time has ceased to exist for me. It's not real. It's a construct.
I see Stephanie in the comments trying to talking about your meetup, and I will be sabotaging that in some way.
F Doctor, you will notice how I did not make a big deal of it. Gave y'all a date, a place, and a time. Hey, people show up, they show up. If they don't, I will eat alone. It ain't a problem.
What was I talking about? I was talking about last week for a reason. Oh, shut up. A guy was speaking. I don't remember. Anyway, I remember where I was going with that, and I've lost it. Okay. Adelia, infrequently, I'm hating Stephanie. You're going to have a very important meeting on your calendar during Adelia's meetup, just FYI. But Adelia will have meetups here because she is one of the admins of the Brothers and Sisters of Mexico City group. And she really will be like, I gotta go meet people. I'm like, baby, you planned the meetup.
I know. There's one Sunday. And I was like, oh yeah.
Wait, there's one Sunday? Is that what you said?
I sent you an invitation on Facebook. You should have gotten it.
I got it.
It's in the going to the park Sunday. So
I did not get that. But anyhow, I did not know if there was a meetup on Sunday. But this is what Adelia does. She'll be like, oh, we're gonna meet up, and then she'll be like, maybe no one will come. And I'm like, baby.
That is always, I'm hoping nobody shows up.
We're like people are coming to the meetup, and she's like, I gotta talk to people. I'm like, yes. They'll talk to each other. So you don't have to do all the heavy lifting, but you're the host of this event. So if you're going to her meetup in Newark, Stephanie, extroverts, be extroverted, please. Because she'd be there like strangers. It's so many strangers. She really be like, it's so many strangers.
And I don't know how many times I got to tell y'all, I don't talk to people I don't know. I do not. I do
So
not.
if you're meeting her up with her in Newark, if you're an extrovert, talk to all the people, not to
Yeah.
her, to the
No,
other
to
people,
the other people.
the other people.
That's your assignment. That's what you need to do. Anissa wanted to know the deets about your head wrap.
It's not a head wrap, it's a headband, and it's from Wrap Life. So Black lady owned. TheWrapLife.com, I think. The Wrap Life. I get a lot of my head wraps from them.
Okay. Jada wants to know, how did you figure out what your dream life was? By planning or just doing?
Doing, and if I do something I don't like it, I don't do it anymore.
I've talked about this a little bit on the podcast about like living life on my terms. And when I turned 40, I was just like, this is some bullshit. I got to live my life differently, and sitting down and figuring out, well, what do I want? Because again, so much of my life before, I lived it doing things I didn't want to placate other people. And so living the life of my dreams meant doing the things I wanted to do, but I had to figure out what that was. And for some people, that is, quitting their job, doing this thing that was a hobby, but now doing that for whatever, moving abroad. But it took some introspection on my part. And if I was better prepared, I'd have links to various podcast episodes, but I don't. But there is a playlist on this channel of the podcast. So that might be helpful.
I think you raise a good point. Like, I've had 43 years of doing me. What do I want to do today? I'll do that, right? And if you're married, if you have kids, if you have dependents, if you're taking care of other people, you've probably had less time of only worrying about you, right? And so sometimes it may be harder to figure out what your dream is or what you actually want to do with your day because you're used to living for other people. For a lot of us, though, it's kind of like, I know what I like, right? I like ice cream. I like aged Cuban rum. I like Netflix. I like men with strong backs and big thighs, right? Like, I know what I like. I'm good. Because I've had so much experience figuring out what it is that will make me happy, right? What will make me happy. I've never had to really say what does this man who's sleeping in this bed every night want, right? What do then people who I had to feed out these titties, like what the person I carried in my belly, I mean, and even as we talk about planning for our future, like Adelia has grandkids, right? Like maybe she wants to leave something for them. I have godkids, maybe I have a little on coke. Who knows, right? Like Jeff Bezos money, right? Like who knows? It's just, we all come with our own experiences and our own baggage, and how you live your dream and how it manifests and how easy it is to find is going to depend on all of that stuff.
And it's going to look different. And we are two prime examples of that. I think we're both living a life that we love, but it looks different. Not Before 10 mentions that September is a new month and a new budget, working in that Exodus Summit ticket money. Although this year's focus is move abroad money, I know that there is a ticket level you can buy that gives you access to the previous summit, which there are sessions in there that I think would help if you're trying to figure out what you want your life to look like, or if you're trying, like one of the things I struggled with was dreaming. You see, Roshida has no problem with that, but that is something I struggled with. So for somebody like me, it would be helpful to see those first 2 years to see oh, look at all these things that are possible.
Yeah. I think part of the reason and this might be helpful for someone, I don't necessarily think it applies for you, but I think one of the reasons I have no problems dreaming or figuring out what it is I want is that there are no limits, right? Like if I looked at it today, I would say, how realistic is it that I'm going to have an SUV with a private driver to drive me to my country estate in Mexico where my vintage sports car is? That, if I think about all of those things as like real tangible things, it can feel 40 years away, right? But I don't think about what I need to do to get there. I just think I want it.
Think about what you want.
I thought about it. I want it done.
Are
Yes.
ticket prices increasing?
More to come on Monday, but Monday is the last day to get the early bird ticket. So if you're going to get the advanced pass, there's a weekend pass and there's an advanced ticket. If you get the advanced ticket if you get it on by Monday, no later than Monday, you can get a copy of the Nap Ministry's new book with your ticket. At some time in the future, after Monday, ticket prices will be going up. So if you're planning on buying an advanced ticket, I would buy it by Monday because you get more bang for your buck. If you are planning on, if you don't want the book, or you're going to get a weekend pass. If you don't care about the book, or you're going to get a weekend pass, I would definitely still plan on buying it in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
We're going to go live on Monday in Exodus Summit Monday at a time. I think that time is new.
I don't know. I just clicked the button that said remind me.
I need to click that button because girl, I just be saying stuff. It will be noon Eastern time. We'll go live and we'll give you more announcements, including price change. That's why we a squad, because I'd be like, it's a book. It's a book.
Okay, so it's Rest is Resistance, a manifesto by Trisha
Hersey.
Hersey?
Yes.
Hersey. Okay.
Of the Nap Ministry.
Of the Nap Ministry.
Yes.
Aside from living your dreams in Mexico City, what other aspirations or dreams do you have that may challenge or stretch you, ladies? I think you answered this question.
I do, but I also want to be really clear. I don't believe in challenging or stretching myself.
Yeah. Y'all, okay, y'all, I was like, because I have been, since we've both been in this city, I've been on Rashida's channel a couple of times. And I was like, wouldn't it be neat if we like did this face to face in the same place?
That's what I was thinking about earlier. Yes.
And then that brings up the logistical questions. If you want to go live somewhere, what's the Wi-Fi like? How loud is it? And then we're kicking around places, and Roshida suggests a place, and I was like, that sounds like a lot of work.
It was your suggestion.
It was my suggestion. You said, yes, that's the best suggestion you've made.
Suggestions, that's the best one. And she was like, that sounds like work. And I was like, every place outside of our usual setups are going to be work.
And y'all see where we are.
Not doing it. Which is funny because I said I woke up this morning feeling stressed. That was what I was stressed about this morning. So last night she asked, and honestly, like I didn't feel like I would want to leave the house because I don't like leaving the house, right? And the place she mentioned,
let alone 2 days in a row.
The place she mentioned, I knew would take me some time to get there, right? It would be I'm trying to take more public transportation now. It would be a hop, skip, and 7 buses, right? And so I was like, I woke up this morning like, I don't really want to. Like, I told her yes, because Adelia will do anything for me, and in return, I try to do anything for her. I think I have stricter. I'm closer to no than she is, I think, but we rarely tell each other no, because like for what, right? And so I didn't want to do it, but I didn't feel like leaving the house, but I was like, okay, sure. You want to go somewhere? Great. I thought she was going to say, let's do it live together at her house. And I was like, I really don't want to go to her house.
No, because I knew, this is why I was suggesting a place, because I knew you didn't want to come over here. And I was just thinking about the transportation logistics it would take me to get over there.
Exactly.
And that's,
I was like, I don't want to do that.
So I was like, okay, someplace that's kind of in the middle.
But then there's the noise and getting the right light and the other people. And some places were small and some places are noisy. I woke up like, I don't want to do it. And then I got a text from Adelia. She sent me a text about the third location she picked. And I was like, that would work. And then she was like, that sounds hard. And I was like, they're all going to be hard. She said, nah. I was like, that's when the stress left. I don't know. I guess that idea that like I have to do something that I'm not excited about. I woke up like,
having to be someplace, having to go through the work. And so when you say you don't stretch yourself, like if there's going to be a dream, it's got to be something that I'm not going to be pressed about. Because I just don't have space for that in my life.
I said it before on one of these videos. I love my comfort zone. Leave me in my comfort zone. I can want a bigger comfort zone, but I don't really want to be outside of my comfort zone.
No, who wants to be uncomfortable?
I don't want to be uncomfortable. And people like pride themselves on that. And I'm like, that's just not me.
Maybe it's my people.
I'm not.
We ain't them people.
I'm not. Aged Cuban rum, the finest ice creams and gelato, strong backs. Like that's comfortable. Netflix, a blanket. I'm good.
I just realized we've been on here almost 2 hours.
You like talking to me. It's fine.
I do. Patty asks, do you think the next dream of a life change are equal, greater proportions? Now, like a constant, or everything else can just plug into this life? If it can't plug into this life, it ain't happening.
No, I feel like, so I've talked about this before. People ask like, what other city besides Mexico City in Mexico? There is no.
I've seen that question several times in the chat.
Besides Mexico City, the rest of these things are janky and bootleg. I know y'all love them. You know you cannot trust me. Do not listen to anything I say about other cities in Mexico. I'm telling you my truth, but my truth may not be your truth. So to me, all the other cities, all of them janky and bootleg. I don't want it. You can disagree. Yeah. I do not care. But my point was that my landlord trying to sell the apartment, rents are going up. If she raises the rent above what I think it should be, I'm out. I'll be in a different country. Is that a different dream? No. It fits into the dream I have now. I don't dream of paying super inflated rent for no reason because it can be charged, right? Because the market will bear it is not a reason to raise my rent. Not when I've been a loyal tenant for 2 years, right? So I'm gonna paint the wall, pack my bags, take some stuff to Adelia's. Girl, I just realized I live across the street from a storage unit.
Huh.
Sounds like trouble. I was walking, I saw a sign and I was like, wait, there's a storage. How I've seen the sign 1,000 times.
How much does storage even cost here?
My concern over cost would be actual safety.
Yes.
As someone who's had things stolen here, right? Like it would be actual safety. But absolutely not moving, girl.
The thing is, I like to believe that there is some other place in Mexico other than Mexico City that I could live. It's probably not true. I keep holding on to that, but it's probably not true.
I haven't been to every city. You haven't been to every city.
No.
But
the you don't like vendors I've been to have not come close.
No. I feel like there are some cities I want to check out, but I don't like the heat, which is one of the reasons this place is great for me. I don't mind the traffic because I never actually have to be anywhere. And it's so like, I see y'all talking about my potential storage and I need y'all to mind your business. Yes, I said it. It was my business to say and your business just to move on past my storage. Anissa and whoever else that was. Hayden. Angela Rochelle. Hayden. Anyway, yeah, I think that my dream might adjust based on external circumstances, right? Or maybe just being honest with myself about how I feel in the moment, but it's not going to be like a major, like, I can't think that my dream but my life would change majorly without a major life change, right? Like, if I wanted to hitch my wagon to another human and they needed to be in a specific place, I might move to a specific place that is not Mexico City. But I try not to engage in that way with people who have to be in specific places. Your life don't sound like the life I want. Why?
Yeah.
Where's this going?
The-
Right?
Yeah, there is a version of this Scandinavian trip that could result in my relocating for some portion of the year to Scandinavia. However, there's a bunch of ifs in there.
But let's be real. The reason you're taking the Scandinavia trip is because you want to have another place you can live.
I want second residency. Yes.
You want second residency. And in a lot of countries, residency means living there for a certain amount of time for the year. And so that's not a different dream. That's part of your same dream.
Yes. That is not a new dream.
Same dream to manifest itself.
No.
You want second residency somewhere, and going to Scandinavia and finding is it a throwback? What is it? What is it for you? Is it a tall? What is it? You like the talls. You like the talls.
Tall.
Yeah.
Lots of upper body strength.
Okay. So yeah, going to Scandinavia and finding a tall who can toss you. Like that's the same.
That is the same dream.
That's the means to your end, which is second residency. Let him know you're using him, girl. Let him know you're using him. He can use you back for whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, whatever it is I got. I did not miss this. Did you finish making your jeans? No, I did not. But I don't have any pants. So before I get on a plane next week to go to Scandinavia, I am going to have to make those jeans and at least one other pair of pants. So, because you know,
one pair of jeans?
I own 2 pairs of jeans. One pair of pants had to be left in Morocco. And then there was another pair of pants something happened to. So like I'm very low on pants at this point. So I am going to have to finish making those damn jeans. So be on the lookout for jeans pics, y'all. And
that's why you've been sewing so much.
Yeah, because I ain't got no clothes. I gotta, and whatever the weather is gonna be there, which I'm gonna assume might be coolish. I don't know. I need to check.
Let's pause. Okay, do this. And I have something.
So I don't know if Frankie is still here, but I did want to the word is not recognize, acknowledge her contribution to my taco fund. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we should find her taco delivery agent.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like we should talk. We're talking about our dream lives. I feel like we should talk about last Tuesday and Wednesday.
What the hell happened last Tuesday and Wednesday?
Maybe it was just Tuesday. Last Tuesday. Look at your calendar.
That's what I. That is literally what I'm
Tuesday. Was it this Tuesday? It was this Tuesday.
Yesterday was Tuesday.
Was it yesterday? It wasn't yesterday.
Yesterday was Tuesday.
The thing I'm talking about.
See, this is what happened when time has no meaning. Oh, you mean how I took
Tuesday?
Last Tuesday, I took off the day to read a book.
We were trying to plan something, and she was like, "It can't." I think you said it can't be Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tuesday or Wednesday.
It can't be Tuesday or Wednesday because I'm taking the day off to read, and I was like, like what? What?
Yes.
I said, wait, what? She said, oh, my favorite two of my favorite authors are releasing books. I will be doing nothing but reading.
Yes.
Said, oh. That's a life choice that I respect. Sis said, I don't care what else is happening. I'll be reading. Like, you can't do that when you have a job. You can't tell. I mean, occasionally I'm sure you could tell your boss, I won't be coming in today. But sis was like, we can make all the plans we want. but it will not be
But
Tuesday or Wednesday because I have books to read. And I was like,
yes,
I would
absolutely.
expect it, but it's also unexpected. I'm gonna call it unexpected. She just said, "No,
Um,
I will not be I will not."
yes, Kat, I do realize that, but we'll talk about this a little bit next week of why I think that part of the world might be a place that works with who I am as a person. Um, we'll talk about that next week. But yes, I understand that I can't just stand there and they come to me. That'd be nice if it worked that way.
I would like to address. Oh, go ahead, Jatana, but I'll
I
go
was going
next.
to say, Patricia Briggs and Alona Andrews, 2 books came out last week. They were fabulous. Those are the 2 authors.
Okay, now Brooklyn Queen. This comes up so much, and I wish y'all understood why we have to do it like this.
I was looking for the comment.
Who would allow someone picky who doesn't like many foods to select the restaurant? That's on you, Sheeta. I want you to understand what happens. Adelia and I, while walking down the street, will look at a restaurant. She'll look at the menu and be like, nah. We'll go to another restaurant. And she'll look at the menu and be like, nah. Go to another restaurant. All these places are places I can eat. She will look at the restaurant and be like, nah. There's a side of fruits on vegetables on a plate. I can't have it touching.
Honestly, I can generally eat any place except a vegetarian restaurant,
Rio
which
Lerma.
somebody did take
that Rio Lerma.
Okay, but I had a taste for something specific that day. What kind of seafood place makes tacos that I can't get without onions? I was like, I wanted gobernador tacos. And I was like, tell me what's on it. He tells me, and I was like, es posible, sin cebollas, sin peppermientos. And he was like, no.
We were sat at the table and she was like, grab your bag, girl.
And there was literally, like, that was the one thing on the menu I was counting on. And that tends to be the problem. Like when we were in Oaxaca, if the menu that they have online is not the menu they're working with, and like I only got 1 or 2 choices, it's a problem. I do not go to Rashida's favorite restaurant because there is literally nothing on that menu for me. But I did go to a vegan restaurant last Friday. I had a ball of ice cream.
Who did you go to a vegan restaurant with?
I met up with a friend of Latifah's who was in town, who was like, hey, my friend's going to be in town. So, and she was vegan. Luckily, I had already eaten my chicken sandwich because I'd have been sad. But the only thing on that menu was ice cream that I could eat. And it was ridiculously overpriced ice cream at that. So yeah, generally, if it's not a vegetarian or a vegan place, I can find something. But sometimes it'd be one something.
Turned out multiple restaurants.
And they be like, we don't have it. Then yeah, that's a problem.
So that's why most of the time she picks a restaurant. We're doing something new. We're trying to go to both of us, restaurant each week, and we alternate choosing. I pick excellent places. She picks other places.
The place we went,
the Mediterranean place.
The place we went yesterday was fine. The Mediterranean price, like I said, I have learned if the menu is not online, I cannot eat there. I just can't. I can't make.
I got there before her. I looked at the menu and I said, she did not look at this menu online, which probably means the menu isn't online. I immediately looked at the menu and said, she don't know. She don't know. She does not know.
That was a mess. That was a mess. And Tamara, yes, onions are a vegetable.
But they're not considered a vegetable in most places.
Which is why I have to have a conversation with the server so that we are clear about what's going to work. Like last night, I thought I was going to get peanut pie. but we could not get straight answers about the ingredients.
Wait,
And
you need to explain. Was it peanut butter?
cacahuate
Unclear.
just said peanut.
Okay.
So it could have been peanut butter, but I was intrigued enough to maybe try it, but we could not get a straight response about the list of ingredients.
Tell them what they thought was in it.
They thought
different people told. She asked the question at least 3 times while I was there, and she'd asked before I got there. Different answers every time.
I was told that there was peanuts, oranges. Somebody else told me, oh, the oranges are just for decoration. And then I was like, okay, what are the other ingredients? And he was like, queso. And I was like,
and then flour.
Yes. And flour. Because he was concerned that I might be like, I can't have gluten.
He was like, is it dairy? Is it gluten?
And I was like, no, those are fine. So I did not get my peanut pie last night.
No.
Okay. All right. I think we touched on everything I wanted to touch on. We've been here for 2 hours. We should have. I think we did. Are
you going to send me dinner when this is over?
Am I going to send you dinner?
Yeah.
I can. Do you know where you want dinner from?
Just surprise me. Surprise
you. Okay. It is past your bedtime, though.
You see? She said, okay, all while in her head being like, I'm going to get out of this. How am I going to get out of this?
It is past her bedtime.
She said, she'll say like, oh, she gives me the Mexican brush off all the time. Like, mm-hmm. But that's not a good idea because, and I'm like, sis said, make a snack tray.
Well, I was concerned that your blood sugar would drop during these 2 hours. I wanted you to be able to easily reach a snack. Obviously,
I did not be passing out during the live.
I did not convey my intentions well enough.
She wants to pretend this is concern for my health and well-being, but you just heard her say during this 2 hours. I didn't want you passing out in this 2 hours.
And what she's not telling y'all is I did inquire about her health, because if she would have said, I feel really, really bad, we would have rescheduled this. But I got a smart ass answer instead. She was like, I have a fever. And I was like, but how do you feel? And she replies, like I have a fever. What the hell am I supposed to do with that?
I don't know.
So to those of you still watching, thank you for joining us for this conversation. If you are thinking about moving abroad, in the link in the description of this video, there is a link to my Move Abroad checklist. There is also a link to the Exodus Summit website, because this year's focus is all about move abroad money. It is pinned in the comments for the live stream. But there is also a link in the description of the video. And I'm trying to think, is there anything else we need to say?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. So thank y'all for hanging out with us tonight and helping us with this conversation. And Roshida, we'll see you Sunday live on her channel. If you're not following her channel or subscribed, Sheeta's on the Loose. Be sure to do that. Yeah, I will be live again next Wednesday, and we can talk all things Scandinavia. Bye, y'all.
Bye.